What's up guys, Frank Macaluso from Garageaholic, another installment of the E31 S85 behind me. Thank you to all my loyal subscribers and followers for keeping up with this project. I know it's been a bit of a slow go, but we're gonna be picking it back up and I'm really excited to share everything with you. Now, hey. Today we're gonna be working on the sway bar mounts. We're gonna be finishing up the lower mounts where they mount up to the actual strut. We were going to be going one direction, but I think I'm going to end up going another for mechanical reasons, and I want to explain that to you today. This might be a bit of a short episode, but hey, at least we got our front sway bar completely done, and that's really big because then we can start moving on to more of the fun stuff on this swap that you guys are really going to enjoy. So stay tuned, guys. We got a lot of good stuff coming up today, so thanks a lot for watching. Are we going to use these guys? No, we're not. These are E30. We were going to mount it to the lower frame member here. We're not going to use them. So let's get rid of them. So why aren't we going to use them here on this lower control arm? Well, the idea here is that this guy would end up sitting right inside, right, just like that. And we can tie something to the lower control arm just like this, that would kind of tie directly to it. And then as the sway bar moved and articulated, it would tie into the lower control arm, just like it does on the E30. This is exactly where these are from, the E30. But that's not a good idea. Hey, these control arms are not meant to handle the load of the sway bar. They're not meant to it. These are aluminum. They're light, but they're strong, but not that strong. The E30 ones are steel, and they are designed to handle the load of a sway bar load. So we are not going to be able to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to tie into the existing E30, E31, E32, E34 sway bar mount locations by making a relocating bracket from up here down to this location here. And that's basically how we're going to do it. We're going to be using the stock part, relocating that all the way down to the lower mount. It's not going to be that difficult. We're just going to be sizing it up with some cardboard. We're going to be welding it to this upper mount, the sway bar, and then mounting it to the lower. Pretty simple, pretty standard. As long as it clears in full articulation up and down, wheel turning left and right, it's important. So let's make sure that we got that set up. All right, this is the bracket that I came up with. It's about 2 inches wide, and that X there is where the hole in the lower mount is going to go. I've exercised the wheel on all different sides. You can see right here. Turn it around. You can see where it's going to end up meeting up right there, right? Let's move it closer. Something like that, right? See it? Same thing on the other side. This guy's going to go there. All right, so we got this sitting here. Both sides are articulating relatively easily. And now I could just take these guys and kind of put them in its place. Although, you know, this bracket might be a little bit loose. Let me get the other side really quick. It's definitely stressed. I mean, it's not stressed. I mean, everything's still kind of loose, but let's put it on the ground and see how it looks. Now I want to bring this down slowly because remember, everything's tacked. So if there is too much stress on either the sway bar joints themselves, where the poly mounts to the actual frame that I made earlier in the episode, or the other episode, or if the mounts themselves that hook onto the actual sway bar links are not right. So I just want to make sure that I bring this down on the ground slowly and listen carefully for any type of stress that might be induced from the assembly. All right, so it's basically completely down as low as it can go. I know it's high, but that's because I haven't really used the suspension in a while. But everything is down, the lift is as low as it can go, and I want to take a look underneath to see where did the sway bar end up in its normal riding position. All right, let's take a look underneath here. Hopefully the lighting isn't terrible. But you can see the bracket that's offsetting the existing mount locations. That's going directly to the stock E30 sway bar mount link, and it looks pretty good. Just static, but it looks good. I did jump on the car a number of times just to kind of get the suspension to level out. But these are the mount locations you can see here. Again, everything's tacked, so again, final weld, more bracing, gusseting will be done on both of these guys. But so far they seem to be holding, no cracking or anything like that going on, which is good. And taking a look in here, you can see the other mount. It's a closer location there. Not bad. I mean, static looks good. Angle of the bracket looks pretty good. I'm not going to bore you with the details there, but I do want to put it back up in the air and then turn the wheels left and right to see if under full left and right turn that everything is still working properly without any interference. So let's put it back up. Let's take a look. And we should probably call victory on this. Everything else after this is just welding things up. That's the boring part. Okay, so let's turn this wheel all the way. One side. Nice. No interference. And the other side is also mimicked as well. And it's close over here. But it's not touching. It's not touching. It's close, but it's not touching. That might mean that I might need to just shave a little bit of metal off of there. It's obviously you can see that the suspension geometry does change if the wheel is turned one way or the other. If I were to turn this way, you can see how it's lowering, right? So it's almost just as close on this side, and this side is obviously opened up again in terms of its relationship to the lower control arm. So having said that, I would claim the lower front sway bar a victory. And now we can start moving on to other things. We are on our way to upgrade the wheels on the E31 S85. I love the M parallels, but not a huge fan of the 18-inch. So then what do? I love the M parallels, but I can't stand the 18-inch. Well, I need 19-inch, that's for sure. 20 is just too big on an E31. So I'm off to execute a trade with another enthusiast for some parts in order to get myself, that's right, some 19-inch M parallels. Staggered setup. It's got the deep dish in the rear. It's actually going to look really good. I think it's going to kick ass. Going to go pick them up. So let's see. Got these bad boys. 19-inch M parallel replicas from the UK. Pretty deep dish in the rear, so you can see the two rears here, and the fronts are there. Fronts are 19 by 8.5 on 245s, and the rears are 19 by, I believe, 9.5s on 275s. We're going to get new tires, we're going to redo these things, we're going to polish the lips up, and we're going to paint the centers. Not sure exactly what color I want to go with yet, but I definitely want to go with something pretty gnarly. So let's mount these guys on the E31. Let's settle it down and compare it to the 18-inch and see how it looks, huh? All right, here are the wheels, the 19-inch wheels. The rears are on 275s and the fronts are on 245s. I believe that these are, let me check. Okay, got it. The rears are 19 by 9.5 and the ET is 20 on the rears. And on the fronts, it's 19 by 8.5 with a 15mm offset. Now taking a look at the comparison between the two, the 19s have a much deeper dish, but that's because the offset is a lot lower. I don't know what the 18-inch offset is yet. I actually just polished the 18s. It looks pretty nice. I'm actually kind of like them. But I think that the 19 is going to fit much, much better than the 18s did. Taking a look at the front here. There we go. See the difference? 19's closer, but it is definitely bigger. Bigger tire, bigger overall diameter, so we gotta see how that's gonna fit. The car already had a pretty good stance as it was, so a slightly larger diameter tire is going to actually position the car a little higher, but it's also gonna narrow the flushness in between the tire and the fender. So that's gonna be an added benefit there too, and also get the ground clearance that I'd like to have. If I do want to lower the car a little bit more, well then that'll help as well. So let's put these puppies on and see how they look. Compare them to the other side with the 18s, and just see how it looks when it's sitting on the ground. All right, so we got here our 19-inch fronts and the backs. Not bad. Good fitment. We'll go through the fitment in a second. Looks pretty good. I mean, obviously this thing's got to lower, it's got to settle out, it's got to kind of have to find its way, but overall I'm very happy with the fitment on this thing. I knew it was going to be very close, just didn't know how close it was going to be. Now let's take a quick look at the dimensions here between the old and the new. Okay. So here we go. The old fitment is at the top, 18 by 8, 13 millimeter offset, and the rear was 18 by 9.5, 25. It's an E31 fitment on BMWStyleWheels.com. And the new is slightly different at 19 by 8.5, 15s, and then 19 by 9.5, 20s, which means overall that in the front, I'm gonna have about 4.4 millimeters of outward poke. And in the rear, I'm going to have 5 millimeters of outward poke. And that is because the overall width of the rears are the same, but the offset is just offset by 5 millimeter. That brings me that 5 millimeter poke. However, the 4.4 is a result of the different widths and also the offsets being slightly different as well. So my track width has slightly increased as a result of going to the 19s. The dish is going to be looking a little bit deeper on both the front and the rears, and overall the fitment's going to be nice. They're going to be a little bit heavier and the tire is going to be a little bit more expensive, but you know, that's what you get if you want to have somewhat of a more exotic look. So let's compare the fronts and the rears real quick. And by fronts and rears, I meant left and right. So this is the 18-inch set. All right. And here's the 19-inch set. Ow, I just ran over that with my foot. Oh. Overall, very subtle difference. Only the enthusiast will understand and recognize and point out. And I'm very happy with it. I think I'm going to keep these. I think that these are going to be a really nice addition to the already unique look of the S85 in this car. And I'm looking forward to making progress on this now. So let's move on, huh? All right, guys. Now that does it for this episode where we updated the sway bars. We did the links with the attachments on the front sway bar, and we also got our new 19-inch and parallel wheels, which will obviously be refinished. They'll be polished, and they will be painted in the centers, some color that I have not figured out yet, but I will. Until then, guys, that's it for this episode of the E31 S85 Swap. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. My name is Frank Macaluso from Garageaholic, and I'm looking forward to spending some time with you on the next episode. Guys, take it easy. Later.